Coming up next on Arizona Horizon's Journalists Roundtable, the state Supreme Court hears a challenge to the new minimum wage hike, and we'll discuss local reaction to the Republicans' plan to replace the Affordable Care Act. Journalists Roundtable is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon's Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Rachel Langang of the Arizona Capital Times, Bob Christie of the Associated Press, and Jeremy Duda of the Arizona Capital Times. State Supreme Court this week heard arguments on the constitutionality of the recent increase in the minimum wage. This, of course, is brought on by the business leaders, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, saying it's interesting because they're going at a specific angle regarding revenue source. Talk to us about this.
So a measure passed by voters in, I believe it was 2004, said that any new law passed through the ballot would have to have a source for any funding that it should ignite. So the Arizona Chamber of Commerce said that Prop 206, minimum wage measure, violated that it requires spending from the state, even if it's indirect, and for that reason, it should be disregarded.
And I guess that word requires is what the justices were looking at.
Requires and indirect. So in this case, the state Medicaid agency determined that they needed to pay their contract providers more so that they could provide services for the developmentally disabled, to nursing home, to the elderly who have home care. And that's about $26 million a year that they say they need to put in state money. Well, it's not a requirement according to the Attorney General. The legislature isn't being told to appropriate the money. And the other part of it is that the reason that they have to give that increase is because they've cut to the bone the provider reimbursement so much that $1 more an hour is enough to throw them into bankruptcy. So they focused really a lot on whether an indirect structure would kill the initiative process. And that question came up from Justice Timmer, from Justice Brutinel, which saying, aren't you asking us to throw out the entire initiative process? Because every single initiative is going to cost something, at least indirectly.
And indeed, one of the attorneys basically said that if it cost $1 more to the state, it's no good.
Exactly, and the example that was kind of being used was, if some agency has to send out some letters about something, even if it's not, an indirect cost as much as a salary or something like that, just a few letters, you got to pay the postage. There it is. That's an indirect expense that triggers the revenue source rule, and that would pretty much mean, as Bob mentioned, pretty much any initiative somewhere down the line, the state is going to have to send out something on that, and that would basically kill the ability of citizens to do any initiatives. And the lawyer who was arguing, Brett Johnson, who was arguing why this should violate revenue source, said, well, in that case, you can always go to the legislature. You could lobby them to do something like this. But that's the entire point of the initiative process, is an end run around the legislature if they won't do what the voters want.
And it's interesting, the Attorney General, Mark Brnovich, he's on the side of the Prop 206 people, saying that if you go through with this, the initiative process is useless.
Right, he's essentially defending the voters' rights at this point. It's also interesting, too, because the Chamber of Commerce was opposed to the minimum wage ahead of time, but they really didn't do anything to try to stop it. They, figured probably that it has a likely chance of passing, so they weren't spending money there. They spent a lot against the marijuana legalization instead, and now after the fact, they're saying, ooh, there are all these issues. I mean, it could have been dealt with ahead of time, or they could have tried to head it off, and instead they're using this court process after the fact.
But that might have been strategic planning. I mean, they knew they weren't going to be able to match dollar for dollar.
Well, not only that, they knew that they polled, and this thing passed with 58%, 58 to 42%. It was clearly going to win. They tried to challenge it before it got on the ballot. They failed. They're challenging it now after it got on the ballot. And they're not challenging it for their, for how much they have to pay, their employees. They're challenging it on behalf of the state. It's kind of an odd tack, but it's what they have to go after.
Any indication from the questioning as to where the justices see this?
Well, most of the justices who were asking questions did seem pretty critical of that argument, especially because of what the implications it has for the initiative process. I think at least one judge, I believe it was Justice Gould, seemed kind of favorably predisposed towards that line of towards that argument, but most of the justices seem pretty skeptical of it.
The other actual direct cost to the state is for the state regulators who have to write the rules for the higher minimum wage and for the sick time provision. And there is a cost there. The Industrial Commission, which does that, says it's, we're going to have to hire at least a couple people and we're going to have to write rules. But in the initiative, there is a funding source for that, fees and fines for employers who do that. So that funding source is there. Now, it won't kick in until they charging fees. So they're arguing a much more nuanced argument there. We'll find out in 60 days whether the state Supreme Court wants to roll back wages for 700,000 people or so.
All right. Republicans in Washington this week released a replacement for the Affordable Care Act. A Medicaid expansion is the big deal here in Arizona because, huge fight on expanding or restoring access, as the case may be. Now, access, Medicaid, the whole 9 yards, they are in the crosshairs of this new plan. Talk to us about it.
Right, and you've got 400,000 odd people who were given insurance as part of the Medicaid expansion, and those folks are in the balance here. Governor Ducey and his staff have been lobbying really heavily to make sure that there's a solid replacement that addresses something that wouldn't just drop all those people off. They've been mum so far on what they think about this bill. And I mean, it's been a few days since it's been out, and there's been a lot of hesitation. I know for some conservatives, it was definitely not conservative enough. It still had some parts of Obamacare that they didn't like being able to stay on until you're 26 on your parents' insurance. And then for others, it was, too liberal or, too conservative. So it sort of was like, people are really hesitant. They're not sure how to weigh in. Our elected officials here have been very quiet about it. Our congressional reps haven't weighed in, or at least they didn't weigh in quickly. People are really, I think, trying to figure out how they feel about this.
And those who are weighing in don't seem entirely impressed. We have legislative leadership on this week, and House Majority Leader John Allen. He didn't seem too amused.
This is not what I would consider the perfect proposal. I would like to see much more, health savings accounts, catastrophic care, sort of get the rest of the market much more driven by real costs. I mean, you can't go to a hospital and find out what anything even costs today. So how are you supposed to shop what you're going to get and things like that? There's a lot more to be done. It's really too early in the game to say this is going to be the final product.
Is it too early in the game to suggest, though, that Medicaid as we know it in Arizona is threatened?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the way the current proposal from the House is set up is, right now the states are reimbursed for their costs for their expansion populations at 100%, and that's scheduled to go down to 80% over a few years. The way the new bill is written is it turns that into a block grant. In 2020, you're going to get a pot of money, depending on your population, and that money is not going to increase with inflation as much as healthcare inflation is going to go, and anybody who drops out of the system is going to be kicked out. So it's going to lock in states to where they are now, and over time that'll get eroded. It's going to give the governor of each state a lot more power, the legislature, to come up with innovative things. But it's definitely going to change this entitlement program from once you get insurance, you have insurance, to boy, oh boy, who knows what's going to happen.
And the implications this has for expansion, you mentioned this big fight we had over Medicaid expansion, is this cuts off a lot of that enhanced funding that was really a sweetener to get states to expand their Medicaid program starting in 2020. Anyone who's still on the program then, their states would continue getting these enhanced federal funds for those people. But after that, they would drop down to, I believe, 80%. And that puts us right on the edge, because if you remember from the Medicaid fight in 2013, we had what Governor Brewer called the circuit breaker, which was kind of the guarantee we wouldn't be stuck holding the bag for unexpected expenses, where if that federal funding drops below 80%,
right,
it ends the expansion of anyone over 100% of the federal poverty level. It ends the hospital assessment that's used to fund the state's share of this, and that would incur massive expenses for the state of Arizona.
An interesting point about the Affordable Care Act or the Medicaid expansion is that if you make a major change, you've got the whole house of cards collapses, essentially. So if once you pull away the funding and you start dropping off folks, Arizona has a capitated system where we have managed care. And we're going to get a lot less money than states that aren't as well run. So we could essentially be penalized because we have a really well-managed Medicaid system, and that funding is going to be frozen, whereas states like California, which don't run a managed care and aren't as efficient, will get the bigger pie to start.
And with that in mind, I would imagine, and we've heard from lawmakers, but I imagine everyone you talk to is basically hoping that the final product is monkeyed with a little bit here.
Right. I don't think anybody saw this and was like, oh, we've done it. We've really found the thing that's going to, solve all the problems with Obamacare and, also have some conservative measures in it. I think they're looking for a lot of changes here.
Sure, this is the first part of a process. It could drag on for a long time. You have some of the more conservative members of the House of Representatives are already opposed to this. Some folks conservatives in the Senate say you can't pass that chamber. Other Republican senators are saying it's too harsh, too draconian because of the Medicaid stuff. So I don't think there's any indication based on this what the final product is going to look like.
And of course, Medicaid expansion is only one leg of the three-legged stool of Obamacare. The others are an employer mandate, which says big, medium, and large-sized employers have to provide insurance. The other is the individual mandate. You have to go out into the system. If you earn more, if you don't qualify for Medicare and you don't get it from work, you have to buy insurance. And there is a system of tax credits for that that's going to be radically changed. They're eliminating all the taxes that are funding Medicaid expansion.
Right.
They're eliminating all the taxes that help with those tax credits. There's major changes coming in healthcare.
Well, and then there's a 30% hike if you leave the market and jump back in, and a lot of conservatives are saying, what's the difference between that and the mandatory insurance? It's basically a penalty one way or the other.
That's correct. The conservatives think just wipe it clean and let the market start over again. And of course, the hospital associations of some states, like Arizona, and the medical associations, the doctors' associations are going, don't do this this way, because patients are going to lose care. And then we'll end up in the same problem we had before, which is in the 2008 election. The issue was medical care. It was people my age who had saved up their lives and had their family, and then one of the couple got sick and they lost everything because they lost their insurance, or the prices were so high, or they had a pre-existing condition. And it's just a snowball effect that really is not what the Republicans want to see happen next.
All right, next on this program, we will talk about the Coyotes sending a threatening letter to lawmakers. We'll see about the reaction to that letter next.
I've been getting used to waking up.
Come and play with us.
Onward and onward!
Good ideas open up a whole new world of possibilities.
The more you know about history, the more you know about yourself.
The sky's the limit.
Where I go, there you are.
All right, Jeremy, the Arizona Coyotes, looking for a new arena, have decided to go ahead and play hard puck with the legislature. They send a 3-page letter, will not remain in Glendale.
Sure, and this is coming from both the team and from the NHL. And it's not only that they cannot remain in Glendale, it's if they cannot get another stadium with some assistance from the state somewhere else in the area, they can't stay in the Phoenix area or in Arizona at all. And this is all in relation to a piece of legislation that is stalled out over in the Senate that would create these special districts where the team would basically be able to bond against future tax revenues to fund a new stadium. And the whole complex would come with retail and restaurants, hotels. Not extremely popular over in the legislature, and I can't imagine it's going to get any more popular now that this ultimatum's been.
Well, we had Republican, legislative leadership on the program this week, and yeah, it did not sound like the letter was all that effective. Here's what they had to say.
That letter may not have received the response they were looking for. In fact, it may be the opposite of what they choose. And the sort of that veiled threat has not been received well at the Capitol today.
In the world of choices in which we have to make at the legislature, with kids in foster care, group homes, and education issues and stuff like that, it's hard to give too much credence to a threat like that.
I got to tell you, Bob, I mean, in the annals of tin-earness, this one's high up there.
Yeah, this one's high up there. Now, to give the sponsor credit, Senator Bob Wardsley is trying to save an organization that is a big deal for Arizona. It's hundreds of million dollars of revenue a year. It's hundreds of employees. But going to the legislature is not the way to do it right now. There is no support for this.
And the general public is sort of over the idea of any public funding to fund stadiums. I think they don't see the sort of return that they want on that, and it just doesn't go over well. Like the representative was saying, there's a lot of other things that the state could be funding. So instead of funding education, they're going to give money to millionaires who run hockey teams, indirectly, and that doesn't go over well with, when we have limited funds.
Who besides Worsley is pushing for this? I mean, and actively pushing for this?
Not enough people to get it through. I mean, obviously the the team, the NHL, and going back for a second to the point about public funding, I think it's an important distinction to make that this is basically revenue that doesn't exist yet. This is the argument from the proponents that, well, we're not taking money away from the state because we're taking an area that's producing no tax revenue, and we're going to take half of all future revenue and give it to the team. That's still really not persuasive to a lot of folks in the lawmaker who just don't want government assistance of any kind to teams.
And also try to explain that to a general person. I mean, it's not necessarily intuitive. It's going to look like it's some sort of public funding that's going towards something that they, wouldn't want to put their money toward. Especially when the arena in Glendale, it's not old. It's, 12 years old.
It's not also, I mean, if you own any business in Arizona and you find out that these kinds of mechanisms are in place for the bigger businesses or for selective business, you're going to say, hey, what about me?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. I mean, we saw the same thing in the House a couple of weeks ago with the Intel bill, where there was this huge bill to give high-tech manufacturers a way to capture their tax credits that they don't pay any taxes, so they can't use their tax credits. So let them take it somewhere else. Went over like it failed outright. They still owe $145 million to the city of Glendale on that arena out there. And the whole West Valley delegation, there's no way you're going to get a vote out of those folks. No way.
Well, and again, it sounds like lawmakers were nonplussed, to say the least, regarding. Emotions high, though, regarding an immigration bill this week. I mean, I like some very curious business there at the legislature. Talk to us about the bill and how the sponsor, the machinations involved, if you will.
Well, this is a bill sponsored by Senator Steve Smith, referred to as Grant's Law, and this would require illegal immigrants who are convicted of crimes to serve out the full sentences, no probation, anything like that. And this is in response to a young man a couple of years ago who was a convenience store clerk. He was murdered by someone who's in the country illegally, who's on probation, and Steve Smith, he did not have the votes to get this passed. He decided to kind of forge ahead anyway in the Senate. He had the victim's family, parents, relatives up in the gallery, and he really denounced his colleagues, his Republican colleagues especially, who were opposing this bill. There's 3 of them who voted with the Democrats and killed this legislation.
Let's only get this straight. This is a bill that the sponsor knows he doesn't have the votes for, yet he brings in family victims of horrific crimes to what? Try and shame the other lawmakers?
That's surely what it appeared to be. And I talked to him afterward. I said, you knew you didn't have the votes. Why did you bring these people down here and put them through this when you know that it wasn't going to pass? And he said, well, I really thought maybe I could get one more Republican vote and then maybe a Democrat would come on board. I don't think that was ever possible. I think he knew he didn't have the votes. And I felt really bad for the victims' families who were up there because the 3 Republicans who voted against this, Senator Worsley, Senator Brophy McGee, Senator Frank Pratt, both Brophy McGee and Worsley said, listen, this wouldn't help him anyway because he wasn't paroled by the state. He served a sentence and he got probation in the state for a crime. He was given to ICE, the federal government, for deportation, and instead of deporting them, they let him out on parole. What Worsley said is, listen, we have a new president. That'll never happen again. It wouldn't have prevented this incident. There's no reason to do this.
And, well, not only that, but the legality of the bill is in question.
Right. I believe Kate Brophy McGee, who voted against it, she said she was not convinced that it was constitutional. The other part is there are Senate rules that say you can't impugn your fellow lawmakers. I've seen that rule called as a violation for much less than this. And there were some lawmakers who were upset that, they felt like they were being impugned and that the whole thing had gone off the rails and it was really disrespectful to them. And then also, like you mentioned, to the family, that they had to stand there and, knowing that this bill is going to fail, we're talking about a young man who died.
Right.
It's not,
Yes.
it's not a political tool. It's a real person for that family.
And it sounds as though he basically said, can you look at these people in the face and explain your... I mean, he really went hard on this.
Oh, yeah, and I think it was Senator Worsley who later told one of my colleagues he called it a public shakedown, which I think is very much what it seemed like, or a public shaming, as you mentioned before. And, Senator Smith not called out for these rules on impugning colleagues on the floor. I've heard some people kind of surprised that Senate President Yarbrough actually let this go on for so long, because it did go on for a while.
Yeah, 20 minutes. He talked for 20 minutes, and normally when you explain your vote, which is what he was doing, you get a maximum of 5 minutes, I believe, is the not a set rule, but generally they cut you off after that. And he just went on and on and on and on and on. These people who voted against it were voting their conscience. That's what lawmakers are elected to do. And, once they've made up their minds, yelling at them and shaming them is not going to get them to change.
All right, but we have to cut you off because it's time for us to go. Good to have you all here. Thanks for joining us. Monday on Arizona Horizon, we'll hear from the hosts of the popular cooking show, America's Test Kitchen. And we'll learn about the first self-produced play put on by the Tempe Center for the Arts. That's Monday at 5:30 on the next Arizona Horizon. Tuesday, renowned physicist Lawrence Krauss joins us in studio to discuss his new book. Wednesday, legislative leaders update the latest from the state capitol. Thursday, we head out to Salt River Fields for an In Focus one-on-one interview with Diamondbacks President and CEO Derek Hall. And Friday, it is another edition of the Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Arizona Horizon here on Arizona PBS. I'm Alice Ferris. When you watch programs like Arizona Horizon, you're going to get an in-depth civil discussion about issues that are important to everyone throughout the state of Arizona and important in your local community. So if you want to make sure that programs just like this continue to be available here only on Arizona PBS, please go to the phone and make your investment in this program. Because now more than ever, we are reliant on viewer support to make programs like this possible. So give us a call at 480-965-8800 or toll free 888-443-2929. Or of course, you can go online to make your gift securely at azpbs.org/gift. When you make that investment in Arizona PBS, you make sure that we continue to have the resources available to bring these incredible discussions straight to you. So please go to the phone and make your investment right now.
Hi, I'm Mary Mazur, the new General Manager of Arizona PBS. While I'm new to both the state and the station, I'm not new to public television, and I am really excited to be joining such a dynamic organization. Since it began broadcasting in 1961, Arizona PBS has never wavered on its commitment to delivering high-quality, non-commercial television to this community. We value the trust you've bestowed upon us to be the caretakers of this public institution. We specialize in the education of children and provide programming that stimulates lifelong learning through the celebration of arts and culture and in-depth news and public affairs. We cannot do this without help from you. Your financial support makes all of our achievements possible. Please consider making a donation in any amount that will help us to continue to fulfill our mission of serving you and our community. I appreciate all the support we have received through the years, and I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible at upcoming Arizona PBS events. Thank you.
When you tune in to Arizona Horizon, that you're going to hear Ted Simons have an incredible discussion with people who are actually involved in the issues that face us. These are not some pundits that necessarily are going to sit there and spout off their opinions. These are people who are knowledgeable about the causes and knowledgeable about the information that they're providing. So if you want to make sure that this type of discussion, this type of civil discourse continues to be available on Arizona PBS, it's important that you give us a call now and invest in this type of program. Now, when you give us a call at one of those numbers on your screen, I hope you'll consider becoming a sustaining member of Arizona PBS. Because the great thing about being a sustaining member is that you get to set the amount that works for your budget. Whether that's $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, or more, you can pick the amount that comes out of your account every single month and will allow you to be generous to this station and make sure that programs just like this continue to have funding available. Because now more than ever, we count on you.
Hi, I'm Paula Kerger, president of PBS. As I've traveled the country and met so many of you, it's been great to hear about the significant role that PBS plays in your life. We want to thank you in a special way by giving you more of the thing that you love about this station, the programming. Passport allows you to watch the programs most important to you on your schedule. You can catch up on episodes you may have missed or find related programs that you might enjoy. What better way for us to say thank you for your support than to give you more of the programs you love? Whether your passion is drama, programs that celebrate our culture, or science and nature, Passport provides you with programming that touches your heart and stimulates your mind. So, if you're a current contributor, I hope you love Passport. And if you're not, call the number on the screen so you can take advantage of this great member benefit. I think you're going to love Passport. And thank you so much for your support.
You know, something to think about is that throughout the country, there are media entities that are actually cutting back on the journalists and cutting back on the newsrooms that they fund. And that's why it's more important than ever that we have public television and public media to bring you great journalism, great discussion, and definitely bring you the voices that wouldn't necessarily be heard otherwise. So if you want to make sure that this type of conversation continues on Arizona PBS, now more than ever, we are reliant on you. So please give us a call at one of the numbers on your screen or go online to securely make your gift and support great news and public affairs programming on Arizona PBS. When you give us a call, you'll make sure that programs like Arizona Horizon continue to have the resources available to continue to bring these interesting people into your living room. So please give us a call at 480-965-8800 or toll free 888-443-2929. Our friendly volunteers are waiting for you to make that call of support and to show your support for Arizona PBS. Thanks.
Today we'll count down our top 50 ways to grow your brain.
People who did our program had significant improvements and decreases in anxiety, stress, and pain. You are not stuck with the brain you have.
If you do the right things, you can make your brain better starting today.
Tonight at 7:30 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Programs on Arizona PBS are funded in part by a gift from the estate of Louise Portal. For more information on how to include Arizona PBS in your estate plans, call 602-496-8888.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
Don't forget that you and your collectibles are the stars of this show, so join us for the next taping of Arizona Collectibles. Go to azpbs.org/collectibles to submit your items today.
Oh my!
I know 50 to 75,000 on it.
One of the nicest pieces that I have seen outside of a book.
Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
I'm Fernando Varela, and I would like to personally invite you to believe in the power of never giving up. I'm coming home for my debut PBS